Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Rose Namajunas is out of action until Jessica Andrade loses. No, I'm just kidding. That's a complete joke. That's a joke. No. Rose Namajunas, but we are going to talk about that toward the end of the video because we got a mini Cyborg now in the strawweight division, and y'all know what goes on with Cyborg. And I just don't know. I'm curious to see if that's going to happen down here at strawweight. Now we got Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Jessica Andrade taking place. But that's part of the reason that's taking place is because Rose Namajunas is injured. Because in my mind, and a lot of other fans' mind, Jessica Andrade right now is the clear-cut #1 contender. She had a spectacular performance versus Claudia Gadelha. She ragdolled one of the best grapplers in the strawweight division, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk just lost twice. So there's no one else in my mind that I can think of that deserves a title shot more than Jessica Andrade. But now Rose Namajunas' injury, and she's not rushing her return to action. She wants to wait until her neck feels totally healed. This is what Rose Namajunas had to say. And as far as where this neck injury comes from, I don't believe it came from her last fight. I think it's a lingering injury that she's had, and maybe she just, before she defends her title, maybe especially against someone like Jessica Andrade, wants to be 100%. But one thing about that is, it's just, we've seen this before. Champion, you might get the belt, and now she's defended her belt one time, and we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but you could imagine Rose Namajunas is in a better position in her life than she's ever been. So not only does she want to be 100% before she returns, but she might want to spend some of that money she got from beating Joanna Jędrzejczyk twice. You could imagine she's probably moving and doing all type of stuff. So why not handle that while you're healing up to 100%? And Rose Namajunas, as far as she's concerned, she doesn't feel like there is a clear-cut #1 contender right there. So this is what Rose Namajunas had to say on Ariel Helwani's new MMA show on ESPN. Physically, I've got some injuries that I've been dealing with for a while. I had a neck fracture, actually. I have a neck fracture. I've had some stenosis, which means like the spinal cord that goes through your vertebrae or whatever. The hole for it is a little smaller because of the fracture. And yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see how things play out. I have no interest in getting right back in there at the moment. I think I need to let things play out. I honestly think the top 5 after beating Joanna twice, and for her to be so far ahead, and who knows how she will turn up against Tisha. She could hit her with one punch and she's out, so who knows. But the level that she's at, it's hard for me to see the top 5 and who the next contender is. I feel the top 5, there needs to be a clear contender. So with that being said, she's saying that she feels like Joanna Jędrzejczyk is so far ahead of everybody else that there's no clear-cut contender, because, and I kind of see what she's saying, because Joanna's beat a lot of the division, including Jessica Andrade. But I think as far as what Jessica Andrade has done lately, she deserves a title shot, and part of the reason is because Rose Namajunas is the champion. Maybe if Joanna was the champion, you could say people don't want to see that rematch immediately or this quick, Jessica Andrade versus Joanna, which that could be a #1 contender fight sometime soon. If Rose Namajunas' neck injury, depending on how long this plays out. But, depending on Jessica Andrade's situation, she could have to take another fight after this fight. I'd imagine she wouldn't just want to sit out and wait. Maybe she doesn't, maybe she will, like Valentina Shevchenko. I feel like I deserve the title shot. I'm going to wait till the champion's ready. Because I think if you're, going by the rankings and what Jessica Andrade has done lately, she definitely deserves a title shot, especially since Joanna lost 2 title fights to Rose Namajunas. There's even something to be said, if Joanna would have won the rematch, there would have been a trilogy, so Jessica Andrade might have had to take another fight. But in my personal opinion, I felt like Jessica Andrade was the #1 contender now. But now we do have some fights coming up in the top of the strawweight division. You got Tisha Torres taking on Joanna Jędrzejczyk. We'll see what happens in that fight. But we also have Jessica Andrade, who arguably was already the #1 contender, taking on Karolina Kowalkiewicz. If she's able to defeat Karolina Kowalkiewicz while Rose Namajunas heals up, then I would assume she still stays in line for possibly the next title fight. But now to all of this, Rose Namajunas saying there's no clear-cut #1 contender. This is the elephant in the room that you don't really want to bring up, right? Because everyone loves Rose Namajunas, and not necessarily everybody loves Jessica Andrade. But to be fair, I wouldn't feel like I was doing this video justice if I didn't say we'll have to keep our eye on this situation. We'll just have to keep our eye on the situation, just because I feel a lot of people, I'm not the only one, I've heard other people echo this sentiment. Jessica Andrade, they feel like it's the #1 contender. So for Rose Namajunas to say that she doesn't feel like there's a #1 contender, to me, kind of feels like she's snubbing Jessica Andrade a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And now the only reason I bring this up is because Jessica Andrade has the nickname Mini Cyborg for a reason. And people don't sign up to fight Cyborg. Coach Shelton Harrison will tell you about girls ducking Chris Cyborg. So now that you got 115 pounds Chris Cyborg down here, and I'm paraphrasing, but even Chris Cyborg gave Jessica Andrade the nickname herself. She said after her last fight, that's definitely Mini Cyborg. So if Karolina Kowalkiewicz is a different specimen. She's a gangster. She's the Polish cowgirl. She's anyone, anywhere, anytime. She's not going to turn down a fight, even if it is with Mini Cyborg. But when you start seeing people kind of throwing shade on Jessica Andrade, like, I don't know if she deserves a fight with me, or, I can't take the fight right now because of this or because of this. I mean, it might be looked at as ducking in the future. So right now we're going to give Rose Namajunas the benefit of the doubt and a pass, because she just defended her title and she says she has a fractured neck, which sounds very serious. Of course you want to get that taken care of, but you know what I'm saying. Definitely going to have to keep our eye on the situation after Jessica Andrade's fight with Karolina Kowalkiewicz. That's going to be a great fight. Looks like it's taking place at UFC 228. But if Jessica Andrade wins that fight, I don't think there's an argument anymore as to if she's the #1 contender. Hell, even if Tisha Torres beats Joanna Jędrzejczyk, then now if Tisha beats Joanna, that could be bad for Jessica, because then now we're actually looking at another #1 contender. That could be bad for Jessica Andrade if Tisha beat Joanna, because if Joanna wins, no one's probably going to want to see her fight Rose again. So yeah, it's definitely going to Jessica Andrade. But now all of a sudden, if Tisha Torres beats Joanna Jędrzejczyk, we got another #1 contender, and then it's going to be like, now who gets the title shot? Tisha Torres or Jessica Andrade? You feel like Jessica Andrade deserves it, but Tisha Torres has a history with Rose Namajunas, and if it were up to Rose, you would imagine she might want to fight Tisha over Mini Cyborg. But with that being said, and if that is the case, if Jessica Andrade, because she could be fighting for the title now if Rose Namajunas wasn't injured with this neck injury, which didn't prevent her from fighting Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but now it might have flared up, or whatever's going on, maybe she injured it in training. But either way, now we got this neck injury, so Jessica Andrade can't get a title fight. But now maybe when Rose Namajunas returns, it's going to be two #1 contenders, and then Jessica Andrade could very likely get snubbed. And in my mind, I mean, that would be the biggest fight for Rose Namajunas. So yeah, if it came down to who out of Jessica and Tisha, you might pick Tisha, especially for business. But if you're going with who deserves it, it would have definitely been Jessica Andrade in my mind, because not only what she did to Claudia Gadelha, but what she likely could do to Karolina Kowalkiewicz. So if that's the case, I would not be surprised if people do come out and say that Rose Namajunas was kind of ducking Jessica Andrade. But at the same time, I mean, she is the champion. She did beat the best of the best, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, the queen of the division, twice now. So you can't really just accuse her of ducking. But keep in mind, and actually, man, I thought of this joke before I made the video, but it's almost too late. Rose Namajunas was on that bus when Conor McGregor threw the dolly. And a fractured neck kind of sounds like what would have happened, like if the dolly actually hit Rose Namajunas, you know what I'm saying? Rose Namajunas was shaken up, like when the glass broke, she felt like it was a terrorist attack for a second, you know? That was one of the big things that came out, like, how could you, Conor McGregor? Like, Rose Namajunas was shaken up, you know, she, like mentally and stuff. And so that was a big deal, but now she's got this like fractured neck injury, and that sounds serious. That sounds like some shit like if a dolly actually hit somebody, right? Now, that's just a joke, you know, I try to bring comedy to these videos. But either way, man, I got my eye on the situation because I felt like Jessica Andrade should have been fighting for the title before this Carolina fight with her spectacular performance over Claudia. But Jessica Andrade is not the type of person that you would imagine gets pushed by the UFC. She's not the Dancing with the Stars, Paige Van Zandt type of bubbly, blonde-haired personality, you know, put on a Wheaties box. And you know how that goes sometime in the UFC, man. Sometimes those fighters get looked over, and that could very well be going on right now with Jessica Andrade, and especially if Tecia Torres is able to beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I just have a feeling if that were to happen, then it would be Jessica Andrade would likely be getting snubbed out of a title shot. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Make sure you also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to become a full-time MMA blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, or black belt, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/fulltimemma. I'm out.
Bye, Felicia.